Commercial structures often have extra features to them. These features could be attached either above grade or below grade, and those features are called terraces. Behind us, we have an expansive extension of the building for which the occupants of the building can come use for communal purposes, recreational purposes, meeting spaces. But a terrace has a lot of elements that should be included in your inspection. And we're going to go through those. We're going to go on a journey and look at these elements and see what we find while inspecting this terrace. Of the multiple components that will create this outdoor structure, it's important that you're looking at it from its attachment, its structural members, and its uniqueness that creates the space that we're on. Now, this one is very unique because we don't have any structural attachment. We don't have any structural members. This is poured in place concrete. Now, behind us, I do have a retaining wall, which is holding up the earth and everything to my right. But where I'm standing on, the terrace that I'm on, this is all poured in place concrete. So we don't have to concern ourselves necessarily with those components. But what we are going to be making sure that we look at is that plumb, level, square, and straight feature that makes sure that we don't see spots where the slab has moved, whether it's heaved, gone up, gone down, or had any displacement. That's what we're going to try to identify as we walk through this various levels of this terrace. Using all your inspection senses, one of which is my feet, I felt a little differentiation under my feet, under the rug. Well, you don't have to move rugs. I did. And look what I found. I found a patch in this slab. And so that is certainly going to be noteworthy for me on my report. I don't know why it was patched. I don't know where it was patched, for what reason, what origin, but I can put on my report that there are sections of this slab that were previously patched. The concrete that we have as our finished coating on our walking surfaces is called a raised aggregate coating. Through the process of the laying and the pouring of the concrete, they did a finish on it where instead of the smooth finish like we'll have on some of these poured in place areas, we actually have the raised pebbles on this area. That helps with traction. It also gives a nice sight line. But one of the things it'll give you as an inspector is a point of view where it's very easy to see a repair point from a non-repair point, or a spot that's been patched and a spot that hasn't been patched. So you're going to want to take your time to walk all of the surfaces so that you have a firm grasp on its condition, looking for raises, trip hazards, or any other areas, especially maybe even a barrier to accessibility that might be present. But watch all your surfaces. A key component to the master plan of this entire lower area, this whole terrace space, is drainage. Whether you're in an arid climate that gets very little rain, or you're in the most moist, damp climate that gets rain every day, rain will come, snow will come. And identifying the drainage plan is really a key attribute to a good terrace and a good terrace inspection. So in this particular case, we've got built-in drains on each cascading level of this terrace. And within these drains, I've actually got contoured slope, designed slope that brings all the water that will pool or pond on this level to this part. You're not required to open this drain. You're not required to look inside this drain, but you should identify that that drain is present and noting any other conditions that would be adversely affecting this drain and its operation. One of the more inspector-friendly or convenient aspects to the commercial inspection is most of the standards and most of the rules are congruent across the entire building. One of the rules I'd love to talk about is edge protection. Wherever we have edge protection, and edge protection is necessary, those same typical rules apply, whether it's the height, whether it's the spacings, all of those need to be understood. This particular edge protection is lower than the standard 42 inches necessary, and it's also got a gap wider than the 4 inches. Now, as not being a person of authority or authority having jurisdiction, all I'm going to do is make reference and notes and let our clients determine the severity and the need for repair. But understanding that all of the same rules and principles that you've already learned throughout everything else in the commercial building, they translate very well to the terrace inspection and your edge protection of that terrace. This terrace has 6 different elevation changes in it. Each elevation change has its own accompanied or staircase, whether it's 3 steps, 5 steps, or in this case, an entire stair and landing going up the required amounts. Again, same translations happen. Your same inspection principles happen. I'm going to inspect this stair and this vertical transportation like I would inspect any other spot in any other place in the building. I'm going to be looking at risers, treads, railings, edge protection, all of those items. And that, for instance, when I look at this stair, I don't have a return at the end. Not having a return makes this a condition where it could entrap somebody. If you're walking, you have an open loop, you could get caught. Not having a graspable hand railing. This is a perfect rectangle. That perfect rectangle does not allow my hand to grip around it. I have to kind of force it. Now, we're in the deep sun. So you can see the sun around me. It's a black hand railing made out of steel. I don't even want to grab it because it's too hot. So think about all of those steps when you're doing your inspection and note them for your clients, because if they're purchasing this building with these terraces and this is that space that's going to be communal for their clients, they're going to want to know these things, whether they enhance them or not. One of the more unique features when it comes to terraces is that look for blocked egress. Now, you don't necessarily ever think about egress when you start thinking about these outdoor spaces. But in this case, blocked egress is a serious thing. I have all of these different levels. I have all of these different areas that have stairs and edge protection and railings, and it could even be furniture. And the whole idea is no matter what level you're on, no matter what spot you're at, you can safely maneuver in and out of that space. Because if you get blocked in there, you get pinned in by something. It can even be for personal security. If you get pinned in, you can't get out. Or if it's an emergency, do you know how to push through off of this space to get safely away? And so that's when we're looking for blocked egress. And that's why it's so important you look at it for terraces.